The California Gold Rush. James W. Marshall discovered a gold nugget in the American River at Sutter's Mill. The news of Marshall's discovery brought thousands of immigrants to California from elsewhere in the United States and other countries. After gold was first discovered at Sutter's Mill in 1848, people traveled from the east via the California Trail and the Gila Trail. The journey would take over 6 months to complete. The other half of the travelers arrived by sea, sailing from New York to California by going on the coast of South America. Some ambitious fortune seekers came from China, Germany, Chile, Mexico, Ireland, Turkey, and France. The region east of Sacramento was the prime location for people seeking gold.
Working conditions. Thousands of miners died on the journey or in the diggings. Many died from disease or from accidents such as drowning in a river. Miners were forced to crouch over streams and shake pans. Later, after the gold from the rivers were used up, the miners were sent to look underground. Heavy rain and snow during the winter months made for difficult living conditions. Sickness and colds were common from sleeping on cold, damp ground. The food was not very nutritious, resulting in generally poor health. Scurvy was common from lack of fruits and vegetables. Sanitation was poor, and miners seldom bathed or washed their clothes.
In San Francisco, the population grew from 1,000 in 1848 to over 20,000 by 1850. This rise in population helped California gain statehood.
The towns of the California Gold Rush were lawless places filled with banditry, prostitutes, gambling, and violence.
The large amount of people migrating to California led to boom towns, forming almost overnight. The gold excavated during the gold rush amounted to billions of modern US dollars.
Native Americans dependent on traditional hunting, gathering, and agriculture became the victims of starvation, as gravel, silt, and toxic chemicals from prospecting operations killed fish and destroyed habitats. Most wild game was overhunted by the influx of new people. This caused a dependence on farming that took even more Native American land. Smallpox, influenza, and measles caused large-scale death. Conflict between Native Americans and miners caused many people to die. Native Americans were enslaved by miners under the Act for the Government and Protection of Indians. California, apart from legalizing the slavery of Native Americans, also directly paid out $25,000 in bounties for Indian scalps, with varying prices for adult male, adult female, and child sizes. Indian population went from 150,000 to 30,000 in 25 years. After 1850, surface gold quickly disappeared and the desire to go to California and mine for it diminished. Hydraulic mining destroyed the land, but brought much profit. The gold rush also helped California become the 31st state in the Union.
On August 16, 1896, an American prospector named George Carmack and his brother-in-law, Skookum Jim, were traveling south of the Klondike River. Following a suggestion from another prospector, they began looking for gold on Bonanza Creek. Here they found the gold that would begin the Klondike Gold Rush.
The Klondike Stampede was an attempt by an estimated 100,000 people to reach the Klondike goldfields, of whom only 30,000 to 40,000 eventually did. It formed the height of the Klondike Gold Rush from the summer of 1897 until the summer of 1898.
From Seattle or San Francisco, prospectors could travel by sea up the coast to the ports of Alaska. The sudden increase in demand caused the fares to increase sharply. At the start of the rush, a ticket from Seattle to an Alaskan port would cost $40, a modern equivalent to $1,100 for a cabin. However, the steamship companies hesitated to post their rates in advance, since they could increase on a daily basis.
Of the estimated 30,000 to 40,000 people who reached Dawson City during the gold rush, only around 15,000 to 20,000 finally became prospectors. Of these, no more than 4,000 struck gold, and only a few hundred became rich. By the time most of the stampeders arrived in 1898, the best creeks had all been claimed, either by long-term miners in the region or by the first arrivals of the year before. The massive influx of prospectors drove the formation of boomtowns along the routes of the stampede, with Dawson City and the Klondike being the largest. The new towns were crowded, often chaotic, and many disappeared just as soon as they came. Most stampeders were men, but women also traveled to the region, typically as the wife of a prospector. Some women entertained in the gambling and dance halls built by businessmen.
Dawson remained relatively lawful, protected by the Canadian NWMP, which meant that gambling and prostitution were accepted, while robbery and murder were kept low. By contrast, especially the port of Skagway under the U.S. jurisdiction in southeast Alaska became infamous for its criminal underworld. The extreme climate and remoteness of the region in general meant that supplies and communication with the outside world, including news and mail, were scarce.